Chris, thanks. Springs voters passed question 2B last night, which means from now on the city can't sell or swap public land without going to the voters first. This all stems from the controversial land swap of Strawberry Fields to the Broadmoor. Those responsible for 2B say they believe it's important to protect the parks and open spaces that make Colorado Springs so unique.
Why does somebody live in this place? Because it is a beautiful, spectacular natural setting. And the way we enjoy that setting is through our parks and open spaces. And so I think they're critical to both the people who live here, but even the people who come to visit as tourists.
2B did pass overwhelmingly with 108,000 votes in favor, fewer than 75,000 against it.
Voters okayed a TABOR override question on Tuesday night. It doesn't raise taxes. Instead, it allows the district to collect and spend the revenue they receive from federal, state, and local programs without any limitations. In D11, before the vote, they'd have to return a lot of money back to the taxpayers.
K-12 has definitely taken a hit to our budgets. We've seen things from the negative factor, which is money that was promised to us but had to go towards other costs at the state level. And we've had cuts year after year after year.
And with the governor's proposal to adjust the state's budget for schools, District 11 also optimistic they'll get to keep even more funding and put it back into our schools.
Happening right now, Pueblo police helping a school in need. Parkview Elementary denied a grant to purchase balance bikes for the small kids at the school. So Pueblo police heard they needed help. People in the department pulled their money together and bought 6 new bikes for the school.
It's food for the soul. It really is uplifting. It's so great to see them with smiles on their faces, the excitement, the light in their eyes.
How about that? The purpose of the bike to teach kids how to balance while riding, and they'll be used during the school's PE class. Chris?
There was no red wave or blue wave last night. Instead, today it became even more apparent just how divided the country is across state, political, and ideological lines. Chris Conti looks at what that means for the future of the great experiment we call the United States.
While the country went to sleep last night not knowing who the next president would be.
This is really tight. That race is too close to call. It's a divided country. It's a close election.
America opened its eyes Wednesday morning to a divided nation.
There's no blue wave or red wave. It's just two ideological silos that everyone's kind of hanging out in.
As a political historian, Tom Whalen offered a glimpse into how we got here.
Everything is politicized down to the clothes we wear, how we speak, you name it. And it's not just politics anymore, but it's seeped down into our culture.
The divide couldn't have been more pronounced on issues like racial inequality, the pandemic, and healthcare. Democrats went for Joe Biden in droves there. On the Republican side, the #1 most important issue, the economy, followed by crime and safety. Across the East, an overwhelming majority of voters favored Joe Biden. In the Midwest and South, the divide was less pronounced and favored President Trump, while Biden was more favorable across the West.
We're really seeing this tension play itself out in this election, but also in who governs.
Henry Fernandez studies African-American polling trends. One of the biggest trends he saw this year, an overwhelming majority of non-white voters casting ballots for Democrats.
We're not really having a debate about issues. We're having a debate about whether or not America will continue with this demographic change.
Beyond the rural and urban geographic divisions, Fernandez doesn't see a great moment of unity until Americans make conscious efforts to reach outside their comfort zone.
We can't just go to Thanksgiving dinner and make friends again across these divides. Instead, we have to be purposeful. We have to find and build specific places where we come together, learn to trust each other, and build relationships.
It's going to make it very hard for whoever is going to be president for the next 4 years to govern.
So much uncertainty amid so much division, with so much at stake. I'm Chris Conti.
All right, Chris, thank you. Now, ahead in our lineup, cancer survivors are worried about what's next for federal health care laws following the election, the role that some hope leaders play in finding a solution. Cities across the country have been putting caps on the fees that food delivery apps charge amid the pandemic. Chicago is a city that doesn't have a cap, but it does have a recently added rule that those apps, they have to disclose to you all the fees.
And when you're using these services, Uber Eats, for example, will show you 49 cents delivery. Grubhub makes it often seem like you're getting free delivery. And it may be 49 cents for you plus their service charge, which they tack on at the end. But for the restaurants that you're supporting, the fees are much, much larger.
Consumers Checkbook did an investigation into the true cost of food delivery apps. It placed orders with 8 Chicago restaurants. Now combined, it found with DoorDash, there were more than $200 in fees that you don't see. For Grubhub, it was $160, and Uber Eats, $100. On average, across all the orders, Consumers Checkbook estimates that these 3 apps took $32 of the $85 food bill. That's around 38%.
These apps have become so market dominant that a lot of restaurants feel like they don't have the choice but to participate. And even if a restaurant offers its own delivery system and drivers, if the order is placed through the app, they still have to pay big commissions and fees to the app company.
Now you can get around this by ordering directly from the restaurant. Consumers Checkbook found when you Google a restaurant, you may get a link that lets you place your order through an app, even if the restaurant has its own website ordering system. Now also Grubhub set up its own phone numbers for restaurants that lets you speak with someone at the restaurant, but it also lets Grubhub charge them a phone order commission. So you really want to make sure you do get the restaurant's actual number directly from their website. Now, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats tell Consumers Checkbook that they have increased restaurants' business before and during the pandemic, and they also say that they've provided hundreds of millions in temporary reduced, waived, or deferred commissions. Now, an experimental Alzheimer's drug may be on track for FDA approval. It would be the first drug in decades approved to slow the disease. The drug maker revived plans to seek approval last year after a new analysis of 2 studies. The FDA agreed that those studies showed evidence that the drug works. A final decision on approval is due in March. Now, kids with better mental health use less screen time. There's a Canadian study that found adolescents, especially girls, fare better if they spend more time doing extracurricular activities in less than 2 hours with screens after school. Both factors led to higher levels of satisfaction and lower levels of anxiety and depression.
Thank you. And new video tonight showing the aftermath of the Cameron Peak fire. You can see charred ground and trees. Firefighters face an additional danger of falling rocks because the earth and vegetation that held them in place is no longer there. The largest wildfire in Colorado history, now nearly 209,000 acres, now 92% contained. The East Troublesome fire, nearly 194,000 acres. That one is 37% contained.
Governor Jared Polis announcing a new statewide fund to help wildfire victims. Polis partnering with the Center for Disaster Philanthropy in creating a fund to help communities recover. Grants from the fund will focus on helping communities quickly respond to this year's extreme wildfire season. So far this year, nearly 700,000 acres, more than twice the size of New York City, have burned in Colorado.
Wow, let's check on the forecast now with lead forecaster Mike Daniels.
Elizabeth, thanks. We've got a beautiful viewer contribution to launch the weather segment. Rusty took this from that brand new state park, Fisher State Park near Trinidad. Those are the beautiful Spanish peaks off in the distance. Man, that's great. I love a good sunset. I think most people do. Take a look at this. That's what it looked like. Fort Myers Beach, FLA this evening. Not a cloud to be found anywhere in that sky when the sun set this evening. Around here, unusually warm again today. Pueblo, 80 your high. Reality check is 62. That's where you should be this time of the year. Colorado Springs, we topped out at 74. Average this time of year is only 56 degrees. I'll do the math. That was 18 degrees warmer than where we should be. November is usually not this warm, so soak it up while you can. Tomorrow, another nice day around here. 9 a.m. temperatures already into the upper 50s. As we work into the late morning hours, it's going to be just about perfect. 60s, 70s, nothing but sunshine during the afternoon. Still more sunshine around here. The wind is really not going to be a problem. Light breeze out of the south, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour at times. By sunset tomorrow evening, staying with mostly clear skies. We've got another nice day Friday. Then a storm system takes aim at the state of Colorado. I think by Saturday afternoon, seeing some pretty decent snow across the San Juans. As we work into the nighttime hours, that snow expands up into the northern mountains, central mountains, continues across the southwestern portion of Colorado. We could see a passing rain or snow shower here real late Saturday night into Sunday morning. There's Sunday, 1 p.m., dry but windy around here. Next piece of energy comes in by Monday afternoon, Monday night into into Tuesday. Rain and then snow showers here along the I-25 corridor. Right now, it doesn't look like a big storm by any means, but that could change between now and Monday. We'll stay on top of it and obviously keep you updated. Current temperatures, we've got 60s here across a good chunk of southeastern Colorado. Lows tonight on the mild side, and you want to talk mild, take a look at current temperatures from coast to coast. No Arctic air anywhere across the continental United States. That's always a good thing during the month of November. Here's that mild overnight low, 43 in the Springs, 38 degrees in Pueblo. Always nice this time of the year, helping us save a little money on those heating bills. Around here tomorrow, how about highs in the 70s, maybe close to 80 across parts of the valley tomorrow. Again, the wind is not going to be a problem, so just a picture perfect early November day. Warm and breezy on Friday. That'll be the warmest day of the next 7. Going to see that storm system come in late on Saturday, possibly triggering a few rain and then snow showers late. It'll be windy on Saturday, gusts over 40 miles per hour possible. Windy again on Sunday, then we've got some snow possibilities later Monday night, maybe lingering into Tuesday morning. In Pueblo, a no worries weather pattern for at least the next couple of days. Soak up those 70s and 80s while you can, because reality sets in quick this time of the year. By Tuesday and Wednesday, only into the 40s. A chance of getting a brief shower late Saturday into Sunday morning. Windy on Sunday, and then I think you will see some snow by at least Monday afternoon, Monday night, possibly lingering into Tuesday morning. And for Canyon City, you'll want to be outdoors the next few days, even if it's just on your lunch break down at the Riverwalk. Maybe grab the fishing pole, see if the browns are biting on the Arkansas. It'll be breezy and warm on Friday, windy on Saturday ahead of that storm system. Rain and then possibly some snow by Monday. And for Woodland Park, it's sunny, it's mild, and it's going to stick around for a few more days. You get some much needed moisture Saturday afternoon, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Better chance of seeing some snow, I think, by Monday. Updates on that forecast as it develops and moves our way. Chris, over to you.
There is a record voter turnout this election. The nonpartisan U.S. Elections Project says preliminary estimates show some 160 million votes were cast. That is nearly 67% of eligible voters.
But Americans no longer take their vote or their democracy for granted. This was a real wake-up call, this election. People now don't say in a cynical way, oh, all politicians are alike. The parties are all alike. It doesn't matter if I vote. Because they know that's not true.
4 years ago, just under 139 million people voted. The 2020 election is the highest turnout rate since 1900. That is according to the U.S. Elections Project. Nearly 74% of eligible voters cast ballots then. Now, the future of healthcare impacted the votes of people across the country, and Alexa Liacco is with a family that is wondering just how the election results will affect their medical costs.
A little over 3 years ago, I walked into a doctor's office with a nagging cough and walked out with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And everything changed for me all at once.
Between chemo,
I lost all my hair,
radiation,
some days I wouldn't be able to get out of bed,
surgeries, and 2 hospitalizations.
It was 6 months of misery.
The bills piled up.
I think it was near $1 million.
She says thankfully her insurance through the Affordable Care Act saved her in more ways than one.
I've been self-employed off and on for over a decade. I used to have junk insurance, and if I still had that insurance today, I would be bankrupt or dead.
But she's worried this level of insurance coverage won't last.
The day after my first chemotherapy was when Republicans in the House voted to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, which was keeping me alive.
As talks of repealing the ACA gained ground, Laura moved hundreds of miles away from family to live in Colorado.
Because Colorado has pretty good state-level protections, but nobody should have to live like this. Nobody should have to be a healthcare refugee in their own country just to get care.
Laura is now terrified the federal healthcare laws she sees as helpful could be changed or removed with the presidential election and new Supreme Court justice.
My life is in the balance, but millions of Americans are in the balance too.
Laura is worried those with pre-existing conditions will not get the care they need at a price they can afford, but she's also worried the individual mandate for health insurance will be taken away. With fewer healthy people paying into the healthcare system, the system cannot help cover costs for people who are sick.
When you take away that piece, my fear is that the rest of the Affordable Care Act will crumble because we won't be able to sort of sustain or afford it in its totality.
Michelle Leek is the president of the Colorado Health Institute. Her organization has been looking at the future of American healthcare. a future she says is unclear.
At issue, I think, and we see this play out over and over again, is your belief in whether or not healthcare is a right.
Leak hopes whatever plan the nation moves forward with will make sure the families living paycheck to paycheck won't be forgotten.
I don't even know how many people will die if they succeed in destroying the Affordable Care Act.
Struggle is something all Americans have endured this year. This cancer survivor is just hoping the election will bring a confirmation that her health is valued.
In a pandemic, it's more clear than ever that we're all in this together, and we need candidates and elected officials that work for the greater good.
And for a better future, Laura hopes she will live to see. I'm Alexa Liacco.
Alexa, thank you. And finally, in our lineup, Republican women are getting a bigger voice in Congress. The impact that these new members could have, and we're taking a look at some of the other women getting elected for the first time.
Welcome back. The livelihood and safety of more than 70 horses at a sanctuary in Elizabeth, Colorado in jeopardy tonight. The landowner moving out of the state and selling the property. Eric Lufer reports.
There's something unique about the horses that roam these grounds.
This is Mushka. So Mushka is about a 15-year-old Molly mule. We rescued her. She's dirty. We rescued her on her way to slaughter.
Candace Ensign is the founder of Journey with Equus.
This is Gracie Lou. This is Winter. Oh, aren't you curious? This beautiful boy is magic. He's a very well-bred Arab. He's a stinker. That's Rusty.
She's rescued more than 70 misfits, as she calls them, that probably wouldn't be here anymore without her.
Completely disposable. When they don't serve their purpose anymore, or they're not going to bring them money, or they're injured, in her case, a lot of injuries, can't do her job anymore, they just let them go. They just throw them away. Get you out of your stall.
But this isn't just a safe haven for these beautiful animals.
And I do believe every one of them's here because they have a mission to help people.
Most of them are therapy horses, providing help to first responders, healthcare workers, survivors of abuse, veterans, you name it.
These animals are sharing their gifts to help people dig down and unpack their baggage and their traumas.
And now it's all at risk. The owner of this land in Elizabeth has decided to sell, planning to build a new home in Idaho. Candace says there are no hard feelings and that the owners really want the sanctuary to stay, but without financial help, it isn't possible.
Maybe there's some angels out there, I don't